I suppose it's reassuring in a way to finally get Putin to admit that he's been at war since 2014, not on some special military operation, but at war. And this is something he said in response to the terrorist attack at the concert hall, where he was trying to suggest that this was organized by the US and Ukraine. There is no evidence, and indeed the ISIS affiliated terrorists videoed themselves in their rampage and have posted that video online, or at least their affiliates have, with Arabic subtitles. It makes no sense at all to suggest that there is a single player, another player at work in the terrorist atrocity, particularly as the US calls out terrorism as a bad thing. Anyway, as I say, it forces Putin into an admission that the war has been ongoing since 2014. That's absolutely true. It's in 2014 that he invaded Crimea, and another unprovoked attack on a neighbouring country. And I think a neighbouring country that is under attack has a right to defend itself. As for the treatment of the 4 alleged terrorists, the evidence of them being tortured, the photographs that we saw of the footage of the torture, along with the vision of these 4 people, one in a wheelchair and unconscious, in court, is horrifying. Apparently they have identified one single man who has put this plan together, but we're not told who that is. And some of the accomplices who've been arrested, some of the 11 accomplices, have provided these people with food, with shelter, with cash. I'm sure all that will come out in time. But it's Putin's admission of war since 2014, which is fascinating. And before we get into the thing about whether Putin is alive or dead, I believe he's dead. The issue about Putin, which comes out in a very interesting book, which is incidentally published in English, is by a Russian, is that Putin is a concept. Putin is an organization. And Putin, this silly man with a slight limp that we see, he's the figurehead of this. He's the icon of this organization. But the organization spends hours every day trying to work out what it's going to do. Putin, I suppose, might spend hours every day trying to work out how he's going to survive to the next day. But yes, I'm utterly convinced that the Putin that we see today is not the Putin who was in power in 2016, but it is the same concept. It's the same group. In 2016 there were 3 groups around Putin. Now I think there's only 2, but they are nevertheless sizable groups, working out what's the next move, what will Putin do next.